Lovely stuff. You ready for your next act? Okay, let's start round the applause at the front like we did last time. Spread it all the way to the back of the room. Raise the volume, start whooping for President Obonjo!
Good evening. It's a duty that we hold in laughter republic to be happy, and to make all the people laugh. It's a duty that we hold in laughter republic. I am an African. I don't need a microphone. Most English comics, when they come on stage, they tell you they're happy to be here. Look at me. I'm not English. I'm Scottish. I'm very, very happy to be here. There's a reason why the English were able to steal land from primitive people back in the days. It was because of a law called terra nullius. Terra nullius means land that belongs to no one. And I have been using that same law to claim land across the United Kingdom. 10 years ago, when I moved to St. Albans in Hertfordshire, I met a homeless man outside Tesco. He told me he was the leader of St. Albans. I bought him 3 cans of special brew, and he gave me St. Albans. St. Albans is now my property. The United Kingdom is now my property. I intend to unite the 3 Survey tribes, the Welsh, the Cockneys, and the Cockneys. If you don't get my jokes, blame the British educational system. I used to be one of the funniest dictators in the world, and all of a sudden, since the 20th of January 2017, Donald Trump has been trying to take my throne. I actually believe that Donald Trump is an African dictator. Let me tell you why. During the elections, he said the elections were being rigged. That is what African dictators say during the election. Number 2, he said he was going to put his opponent in jail. That is what African dictators do. And number 3, he has appointed his family members into the American government. Tell me if that isn't African or not. I promise not to talk about being black, even though I've been black for 51 years, I'm now 56. Great stuff. Every time I say great stuff, I'm trying to remember my lines. Great stuff. You see, they don't take me seriously as a comedian. The other day I went to Scotland, outside London, performing to 350 people. You hear me talk about 350 people because just like Donald Trump, I inflate the number of audience members I perform to. So right now there are 350 people in this room. And when I went to Scotland, outside London, performing to 350 people, this woman came to me and asked me if I was from uniformdating.com. I never knew there was a website called uniformdating.com, so I registered. African dictator looking for a 10th wife. I'm married to an English wife. Married her for passport rather than for love. We have 3 lovely children. I gave them English names. James Alexandra Obonjo, 18. Margaret Alexandra, 12. And Cassandra Alexandra. I'm going to do that again. Great stuff. I have 3 lovely children. James Alexandra Obonjo, 18. Margaret Alexandra Obonjo, 12. And Cassandra Alexandra Obonjo, 6. We had sex every 6 years based on the government child benefit policy. Thank you. I want to talk to you about Brexit. Look. You see, I'm not one of these comedians who comes on stage and criticizes you for voting in or out. It was your right to vote. But look at me. Do I look like the sort of comedian who believes in elections? You just changed the government overnight. I went to Hastings outside London performing to 350 people. This was the 2nd day after the referendum. And let me tell you, when I arrived in Hastings, I knew I wasn't supposed to be in Hastings. I increased the ethnic population by 100%. And there was a woman called Helen, and she's not here tonight. And she had a question for me on Brexit and immigration. She said, Mr. President. I said, Helen, Said, Mr. President. I said, Helen. Said, Mr. President, why are you lot always taking our jobs? I said, Helen, what do you do for a living? Said, she's a foot massage therapist. I said, what does that entail? She said, massaging people's feet. I said, look at me. Look at the way I'm dressed. I've come all the way from Africa to take, you think I'm going to take your job as a foot massage therapist? Number 10 down the street is what I want. I have a dream. Not a wet dream, a political dream. That I got fed up with the Theresa May government, and I appointed the following people to my cabinet. Deputy President Trevor McDonald. Secretary of State for Arts and Culture, Chris Eubank. My Food Minister, Levi Roots. My Sports Minister, John Terry. My Transport Secretary, Jeremy Clarkson. And the Chancellor of the Exchequer, the Halifax man. If you don't get my jokes, blame the British educational system. I told you I've come from St. Albans in Hertfordshire. I love the train journey from King's Cross to St. Albans because everybody thinks I'm getting off at Luton. On a Friday night, English people are always drunk. You can never ever contain your alcohol. I don't know which one is English or Scottish, but on a Friday night, English people are always drunk. And there was this man, he was sleeping, his mouth was wide open. I told the commuters I was going to prank him. They say, don't do that, he might have a heart attack. I touched him, he woke up. I said, welcome to Nigeria. Great stuff. See, comedy is like dogging. Let me explain. You go to strange places at night to perform comedy. The spotlight represents the car light. People are watching you perform. Some are enjoying your performance. And some just want to join you on stage. Great stuff. You see, as comedians, when we do very well, it's as if we're high on cocaine. The other day I went to Liverpool outside London, performing to 350 people. You see, they were screaming my name. They were screaming my name. President Obonjo, you're the greatest. You're fantastic. You're a comedy genius. I totally forgot myself, driving on the M6 in this uniform, saying they loved me. Driving on the M6 in this uniform, saying they loved me. Driving on the M6 in this uniform, saying they loved me. Guess who stopped me? The police. He came towards me. He said, hello, sir. I said, hello. He said, keep serving this country. I said, I will. And he asked me to go. I don't think you realize how important I felt. The relationship between the black man and the police is always very complicated. So when my black friends tell me that there's racism in the United Kingdom, I say, wear an army uniform, you get away with it. I want to talk to you about my friend Kim Jong-un. The North Korean dictator. There's no doubt in my mind that North Korea tests bombs. There's no doubt in my mind that America tests bombs on poor civilian countries. There's no doubt in my mind that I test my jokes on my audience members and I never bomb. Thank you very much. I never ever know how to end my set. I'm not really a comedian. I'm just a president who came on a state visit to see your queen 10 years ago. And when I arrived to see the queen, I was so disappointed. I didn't know the queen was German. So I wanted to meet real English people. So I went to the comedy store. And I arrived at the comedy store. And you won't believe it. It was the night when the audience members were asked to come on stage. And this MC had the audacity to ask me to come on stage. I went on stage, 5 minutes, no jokes, no material, a funny speech. 350 people gave me a standing ovation. And before you knew what was happening, I was gigging everywhere. Brighton, Luton, Peckham, Milton Keynes, all over the place. My people forgot that they basically found out that I was no longer on a state visit seeing the Queen, and I was performing comedy, and there was a coup d'etat. I want to talk to you about the royal family before I go. The royal family. You know, I am so happy. I am so happy that Prince Harry has been radicalized. You have been a fantastic and wonderful audience. If you have enjoyed my performance, tweet about it. If you haven't enjoyed my performance, nobody needs to know. Thank you.
President